You know, on days like today when it is rainy and gloomy outside and you just don't like where you live, those days aren't very fun, especially when you are stuck at your day job, at your 9 to 5 that you absolutely hate. What if you had a location independent business and you could go anywhere in the world and still make a good wage? Not just make a good wage, but crush it. We're gonna find out somebody that has done just that, and you're gonna love this story right now. All right, today's guest is Greg Wilnaugh, and it looks like will know, but it sounds like nah, as in hell nah.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no.
I met Greg through a mutual blogging friend whenever I was looking for a new design for my site, goodfinancialsense.com, and I wanted this thing to look gorgeous. I wanted it to look pretty. The friend that I had, I knew he just did a new site redesign and I loved it. So he referred me to Greg, and Greg did an amazing job. So he did goodfinancialsense.com. If you checked out any of the graphics from Wealth Hacker Labs, guess who is in charge of that? That's right, that's my man Greg. But that's not all of Greg's story, because Greg right now is traveling the world. And as I am doing this video, he is in New Zealand with his wife, and he was only in the States, I think, for like a month or two, coming back from Switzerland and some other amazing places before they headed back out. I mean, it's just a phenomenal story to hear what he's been able to accomplish while traveling the world with his wife. And here's the kicker. Dude doesn't even have a college degree. You know, many of you think, oh, I've got to have a college degree if I want to be a successful entrepreneur and a successful business owner. No, you don't. And Greg is just another prime example of why you don't. So here's more about Greg's story as we feature him in this latest edition of the Make 1K series.
So we have two businesses. We have a design, marketing, and branding business, and I have a music business. And they're all based online, and I monetize my music business through educational products to help musicians earn income playing music. In our design, marketing, and branding business, we do a lot of web development, a lot of custom branding, and we really work hard on creating personal brands that stand out online. So yeah, personal branding. We really do a lot of personal branding, web development, logo, and it's totally based all online. So the reason I started an online business was because it was cheap. There was barely any startup costs, and it seemed more interesting to me because I'm into technology, and I knew that the potential to scale was not limited to the physical world. Like, digital things are inexpensive, physical things are expensive, and they have a lot of overhead. And I'm too cheap to worry about having all that overhead. So that's why I did it. But the real reason why I started my business in general, not just online, was because I had always heard growing up from my family that if you don't go to college, Greg, you're gonna be unsuccessful. So this idea was planted in my head that if I didn't go to college and get a degree, that I was gonna be a failure. And I started thinking about it, and I didn't want to go to college. I really didn't want to go. I couldn't think. I remember sitting there thinking, man, what would I want to go to college for? And I remember thinking and thinking, and gosh, there's nothing that college would give me that I want to do, you know? And then I started thinking about it. I was like, okay, I'll look a little bit into this. And I started doing some research. And some of the jobs that looked appealing to me were ones that were like leading a team and taking a project towards a goal, setting tasks and deadlines and being responsible. And I was like, that sounds a lot like being a business owner and an entrepreneur. And I started thinking about it. I was like, okay, so if I go to school for 4 years, I'm gonna have, I don't know what it was like $34,000 in debt or something like that. And it'll be 4 yehave before I get my degree and I can even start. And then I hope I'll get a job, and then I'll have to start working up to make money. I'll have all this debt and have all this, time that I'll just have wasted, and I'll have to catch up and hope maybe that, I'll get treated right. And I didn't like that idea. So I was like, well, why don't I just start a business and learn myself? That was 5 years ago, and it's been going really well. Haven't gone back since. I was actually a construction worker, so I quit my job, focused on my business full time, and a year ago, my wife and I actually sold our home in Florida, and we've been traveling around the world together, fully funded by our two online businesses. There are really three people that I looked up to, and they're really specific in that they stand out to me. Pat Flynn, Derek Halpern, and Todd Tressiter. So Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, Derek Halpern from Social Triggers, and Todd Tressiter from FinancialMentor.com. And the thing I liked about Pat is his authenticity, and I was so impressed by how much content he was able to produce and the quality of it. And the thing that I loved about Derek is I loved his upfront, no BS approach. So I kind of was attracted to two ends of the spectrum, the total Pat, honest, nice guy, and then the Derek Halpern, just in your face and upfront, honest. I love that stuff. Pat's honest too, but there's different styles there, so I was really attracted to them. But the guy who helped me the most was Todd Tressiter from FinancialMentor.com. I actually hired him to be my coach when I first decided to start my business, and if it wasn't for him, there's no way I would have made it. His guidance and his wisdom and just the knowledge that he shared with me about how to think, like an entrepreneur, just changed my life. So thank you, Todd. You are awesome. And Derek and Pat, thank you. All right, so this is a funny question. The thing that I had to overcome the most is being absolutely totally unproductive in the actions that I would take on my computer screen. So this might not make sense, but when I was working in construction, it's very different from working on a computer screen and in an office to being very physical and working with your hands all day. It's a totally different world. And I hadn't learned how to think and process that world. I was always having to touch things to understand them, to see what needed to be built, because I could look at it. But on your screen, it's just what's limited to the screen. So I just start clicking stuff, and 2 hours would go by and I would be like, what have I been doing? So that I really had to train myself to learn how to be productive in a digital world. And that was the thing that the biggest obstacle that I had to overcome was learning how to be productive in a digital world and increase the awareness of what my mind was doing. That was definitely the most important thing. So once I decided to start my business, all my limiting beliefs went to the side. Making the decision, I no longer had any limiting beliefs. But to make that decision, I really had to overcome the limiting belief that if I didn't go to college, I was going to be a failure. And I've learned that that's not true. That knowledge and education comes in many forms. And just because it comes from a traditional degree, there's no better proof than education than money in the bank. And that's what I learned how to do. I learned how to make money on my own terms. And it is the greatest education I ever have had. So I stopped defining success by a degree and started defining success by how much money I was able to put in the bank. What else do you want from me? I don't have a degree, but I can travel the world and have my own business and make money on my own terms. You can keep your degree. So the first $1,000 I made was for my music business, and it was a webinar for a course called 1K with Music, where I teach musicians how to earn income from the gigs that they're already playing and bootstrap it, exactly what I did to start earning income from my music business. And I did a JV webinar, and there were 20 people who showed up, and 4 of those people bought. And the price was a little over $300 per item, so per sale. And that was the first time I made over $1,000 online. And I remember seeing the order come in, because you get the emails from Stripe. And I remember closing the webinar, taking off my headphones, opening up my email, and not really expecting anything. I was prepared to be disappointed so that I wouldn't be disappointed. And 4 orders came in. And it was probably the greatest feeling in my entire life. So the first time I made any significant passive income was when I had done a webinar and nobody had bought, right? And I set up a autoresponder follow-up sequence to send to people who had attended the webinar but didn't buy. And it was a few days after that, and I was brushing my teeth, I think. And then all of a sudden my phone starts ding, ding, ding. And I look at my phone and I pick it up, and there are all these messages from Stripe. Congratulations, you just sailed, you got paid, la la la. And I was sitting there going, what? It was awesome. And I totally had forgotten that I had set up that sequence. And it's just, the power of having a message and then learning how to say it in a way that resonates with people and then earning their trust. It was just an amazing, amazing feeling. So I would tell my beginner self about getting started, don't compare myself to other people. And I would actually transport myself back in time and tell myself, it's gonna take longer than you think. Be patient. It'll happen. Just chill. That's what I would tell myself. I would tell myself when I would finally be able to leave my job and when I would start earning income consistently so that I could stop comparing myself to everybody else's success. Because that's something that I did a lot. Oh, this guy did it in this amount of time, so I need to do it in this amount of time or they're better than I am. And that's just not realistic. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. My name's Greg. I'm from musicianmonster.com, willnotdesign.com, and yeah, so that's my story.
You know, it's funny, so Greg actually is in my men's mastermind group. This is something I launched earlier this year. And it's just funny because like kind of the running joke, you know, in the group is that every time we meet for our call, you know, where's Greg calling in from this time? Because I mean, the man, he's everywhere. I mean, him and his wife have literally traveled the world. And I mean, our mastermind group has only been going on for about maybe 5 or 6 months, and he literally has been in so many places that I think if you combine all the guys in the group, I mean, Greg and his wife have been more places than all of us combined. I mean, it is phenomenal just to hear his story and his resilience. He's had to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs of, you know, not having that college degree and, you know, not coming from a family that had a lot of success. I mean, there were so many things I could relate in his story because I mean, that's a lot of my upbringing, right? I didn't have people to show me to start the business and to grow a business and to scale a business. And Greg is just beginning. So I hope that you enjoyed hearing his story, just featuring him on this Make 1K series. I've got more amazing stories coming, so please subscribe because you are going to want to hear these stories. I promise you, not only are they inspirational, but they will give you some guidance, some actionable steps that you can apply to your life so that you can hack your wealth. All right, y'all, until next time, reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Peace.